It has been some time since I first talked about Chexy. And I'll be honest, back then I wasn't 100% sure the recurring bills strategy would last. Banks and fintechs are famous for closing this kind of loopholes the second they get popular. But as we move through the year, not only is it still working, but the math has actually gotten better because the ecosystem around it has expanded. If you're a renter in Canada right now, you're dealing with record high costs. So if you aren't clawing back at least $50 a month from your rent, you're essentially just leaving money on the table. But let me explain. One of the biggest updates this year is that Chexy now fully accepts Canadian Mastercards at the same 1.75% rate. Previously, this was mostly Visa and Amex, and this is massive because it opens the door for cards like Rogers World Elite Mastercard, which if you're a Shaw, Rogers, or Fido customer, that's 3% effective returns on Rogers card, is now a viable play for your rent. Even after 1.75% fee, you're netting 1.25% back with a card that has zero annual fee. It makes the entry barrier for rewarding rent payments to much lower for people who don't want to carry a premium $120 a year Visa Infinite card. The 1.75% fee is still the baseline for Canadian cards, but the strategy has shifted. The most consistent profit play is still pairing Chexy with the Scotiabank Momentum Visa Infinite. It still codes as a 4% recurring bill payment, because it is a recurring bill payment. And Scotia actually just updated this card to allow for anytime cashback redemption, which is absolutely great. You no longer have to wait until November to see your money. You can redeem them a few business days after the charge. On a $2,500 rent payment, which is becoming the standard for a lot of 1-2 bedrooms in Calgary, Toronto, or Montreal, you're clearing over $60 a month for pure cashback. That's $720 a year. Keep in mind that I think the upper limit is $25,000 a year in cashback. So for the last 2 months, you probably want to switch to a different card like Rogers World Elite Mastercard. But anyways, just keep that in mind. I think it is important. So that covers your internet bill, Netflix bill, and a couple of grocery runs just for paying rent that you already had to pay. If you're not doing this, you're essentially paying a laziness or hesitancy tax to your landlord. Like, you shouldn't be doing this. One thing I'm using now is their expanded multi-card support. You can now link up to 5 different cards to your account. And why does this matter? Because if you churn cards, for example, sometimes you have a welcome bonus that needs $3,000 spent in 90 days, but your rent is only $2,000. Last year, you'd have to find something else to buy to hit that goal. Now you can split your rent. You can put $1,500 on a new card and hit a welcome bonus and put the remaining $500 on your Scotia card to keep that 4% cashback rolling. It's the ultimate low-friction way to rack up airplane points or Marriott nights without actually increasing your monthly spending. On the credit score side, there's been a big update, which Chexy is now consistently reporting those on-time payments to Equifax. If you're planning a move, for example, looking to buy a place in a year or two, this is essentially the thickest your credit file is ever going to look. For a long time, renters were a big disadvantage because a mortgage payment helped your score, but a rent payment did absolutely nothing. Now, having years of verified high-value payments on your record is a massive green flag for mortgage brokers. It proves that you can handle large monthly obligations long before you even apply for that first home loan. And look, a quick heads up on a feature that a lot of people are missing. They have expanded into CRA income tax and municipal property tax payments. I just use this for my own tax installment. While most platforms charge you 2.5 or more % for tax services, Chexy is keeping it at that 1.75%. For personal accounts. Again, if it helps you hit that $5,000 welcome bonus on a premium travel card to get some perks, the math is very much in your favor. I'd rather, pay a small fee to unlock $1,000 in travel value after hitting that spending limit, as opposed to just sending CRA and e-transfer and being done with it. And of course, it only applies if you owe taxes, which for some reason my employer always makes sure I do. I don't like it. It very upsets me every year. But anyways, that's a story for another video. Anyways, guys, let's start wrapping up. So yeah, that's the update. The UI is a little bit cleaner, Mastercard is finally in the mix, and the credit reporting is actually making a dent for people with so-called thin files. And I've got a link in the description. It still gives you $15 after your first payment, which basically makes your first month fee non-existent. So what's your current rent paying strategy? Are you still doing manual e-transfers, or are you actually getting some cash back this year? Let me know your plan in the comments, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.